Hello and welcome again to Creepy Cutie Crafty. Welcome again to yet another Fabric Fumble Friday. I hope that you can hear me. I'm trying out a new microphone system, but I think it might make it a bit muffled. If it doesn't work, then I'll go back to normal next week. I just noticed that quite often when I was sewing, the sound of the thread or the ribbon going through the fabric was a lot louder than my voice, and I think it might have made it less easy to understand. We'll find out, won't we? Anyway, the other issue is, of course, I live in the UK and I live in one of the areas that has the most changeable weather. So it goes hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And of course, that means that now I've caught a cold and my throat is a bit funny. So if I start coughing and spluttering, that's why. It's just because of the weather bringing out all the colds, and also, first few weeks of term, all the kids share all their germs, don't they? But hopefully it isn't going to be too impactful on the quality of my videoing, as if it's quality in the first place. Anyway, so this week I'm going to be putting aside the basil piece. I haven't got any more of him done so far. I've been back at work this week, so it's been a bit kind of trying to fit everything in, and I've been having a go at some other bits and pieces off screen, and I've started this. Now, this isn't going to make much sense yet, but I'm going to see if you guys can guess what it is. This is going to be yet another one of my mystery stitcheries, and I'd like to see if you guys can guess the theme. Once again, it is fairly geeky because I am fairly geeky, and it's based on a movie, or at least two movies that have been out fairly recently, one of which came out earlier this year, I believe, and came out to, well, actually, I think it might have been last year actually, but it came out to great acclaim, and it's a very good movie, and I highly, highly recommend it. But we'll see if you guys can recognise it. So at the moment, I've just got the red circle on the black background. This is a piece of scrap denim that I've picked up. You can see there that it's fairly tatty, but it's perfect for what I want to do with this project. And yeah, so have a good close look and see if you can work out what it is. I will be turning this into a short at some point, so you can see whether or not you can work out what it is. I'll be very surprised if you guess it from just this bit so far. So yes, I'm back on my knee, working on the embroideries, and as I said last week, Squinks is now back at school, so I'm going to be getting going on a few new projects. I've got my tickets for the Creative Craft Show that's going on at the end of October, so that's something to look forward to. And also, Squinks and I are going to be going to Comic-Con, so that'll be fun. We're very much looking forward to seeing all the cosplay and things. Have you guys ever been to a Comic-Con? I've seen some of the ones that happen in America, and some of the ones that happen over, in Europe. And they are so much bigger than the ones I've seen so far here in the UK. I know that the ones in London are much, much, much bigger than the ones you get here out in the provinces. But I'm very much looking forward to going to the one in Birmingham, and Squinks is definitely asking, if possible, can we go to the one in London next year or the year after, and we might be able to. That would be fun, I think. But yeah, so got the Creative Craft Show going on, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm going to have to save up my pennies so I can buy loads of things that I don't really need, but I want to have a play with. We're going to have, what have we got going on? Squinks has got all of their school trips coming thick and fast now, so they're going to be going to the theatre a couple of times, which will be great fun. And I'm, as I say, back at work, so it's back in the museum that I work in Birmingham, and seeing the crowds sort of dissipate after the summer holidays. but we're going to start having school groups and things instead coming in, which will be busy but in a different kind of way. And yeah, so I'm going to be working back on more on the Amori piece, and I've got a whole slew of projects lined up. I've got some. I'm going to have a go at doing some. Oh, what's the word? Crazy quilting. I think it's called patchwork quilting. So it's going to be sort of freestyle, and I have a project in mind for that. But I'll see how I get to it. I think I'd like to have a go again at paper piece quilting. I used to do quite a bit of that. In fact, I've got a mini quilt that I made for Squinks when they were a baby. That's upstairs somewhere, and I might have to show you that when I start doing my quilting type things. I'm looking forward to doing some quilting type things on my Fabric Fumble Fridays, but I'm not entirely sure what the projects are going to be yet. We shall see, shan't we? I think it's going to be just as much a surprise for me as it's going to be for any of you guys. So, yes, what have you guys got going on this week? Is it all back to term for you, or is it gearing down ready for holidays and things in other parts of the country, other parts of the world rather? Here in the UK, it's the weather is super changeable, as I said earlier. Yesterday we had torrential rain, followed by bright sun, followed by torrential rain. It was warm, but not when you expected it to be warm, and it was cold when you didn't expect it to be cold. And it's just all over the place. The weather here is sort of well memed about. It's well known that we live with such changeable weather. But yes, gonna have to see how that goes. Gonna have to see whether or not we get some nice weather before we get to Halloween. Starting thinking about Halloween projects and things. I'm just going to turn this over so I can do a new thread. Yes, I don't know. I so rarely plan things at the moment because things are so changeable. It's kind of, yay, I've got time to do some stuff. Yay, I've got time to do some stitching. Yay, I've got some time to do some other creating, but it's always more ad hoc than maybe I'd like. I'm still thinking about getting a full-sized craft room. At the moment, I'm still either working on my lap or working on the dining room table, which is not really built for the purpose. I have, as I've mentioned before, got my grandmother's old sewing machine from years and years and years ago. I believe it's from the 50s or 60s. And it's a beautiful machine, but it does weigh a ton. I mean, you know that modern sewing machines are practically, you know, they're very lightweight. They're very easy to pick up with like just one hand, whereas the older ones, you know, you need both hands and sometimes a winch and a friend to spot you. Because they are so sturdily built. Essentially, they're sort of hammering the thread into the fabric rather than just sewing. But it does mean that they last a very, very long time, and they work super, super well. They don't need all that much maintenance except for, you know, the obvious cleaning and oiling and things on a regular basis. And yeah, so I would really like to start using it, but I don't think my my dining table would survive. It would probably collapse under the weight. And then I'd have a broken table and a broken sewing machine. So I think not, maybe. but I'd like to use it because there's a project I've got in mind, probably the one that's using the crazy in quilting, where having a sewing machine would be very, very useful. And I don't really want to splash out on a cheaper, lightweight machine, which would probably fit well on my table, but I don't feel the need to get one if I've already got one that's already fit for purpose, if you know what I mean. You understand what I'm saying? I think I'm rambling a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to go back to making stuff. When I was when I was a kid, when I was like 12, 13 years old, I had a little sewing machine that was hand cranked, so you had to turn the wheel to sew. And I made myself a really nice patchwork bag out of it, like out of all these peach coloured scraps of fabric that my mum had lying around. And I loved that bag. I really, really loved that bag. It fell apart eventually because it wasn't spectacularly well built, but I would love to do something like that again because I did love it. But hand cranking I do not recommend because it made my arm ache like nobody's business. Yeah. So there we go. By the way, I haven't written down a list of topics to talk about this week, as you can probably tell, because I just didn't get the time to. And also, I'm having to be careful as I sew. My skin on my thumb, I managed to pull some of the skin off the other day when I was doing something, and it just keeps catching on the thread and pulling them apart. So I'm having to be careful doing that. Yeah. I'd be fascinated to think what you guys think of this once it's finished. My last Mystery Stitchery, the one that I posted as a short, nobody's taken a guess at it yet, and I thought it was too obvious. But maybe it was just obvious to me. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, I do have a bit of a cough. I like the way this one's working out. The stitching is kind of almost like seed stitching, but a bit more random, a bit more sort of jarring, which is exactly what I want it to be for the piece, the area that I'm doing. We shall see how it turns out though. There's going to be a lot more colour in this. I'm just starting with the area that had just the one monotone, and we'll get on to the next bit in a bit. I'm not going to be able to get this all done today, I don't think. But yeah, so what crafty projects are you guys up to at the moment? What are you getting up to? I'd love to hear from you. I'm sort of gearing up for my next few projects. As I say, I've got a crazy quilting project planned, and I've got a felting project that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time, and I've not got the chance to do it. I've got all the pieces for it. In fact, I found the last piece a couple of weeks ago when I was visiting my mum down south, because we went to a little sort of fabric and haberdashery shop, and we found something that I needed for that project that I hadn't been able to find elsewhere. But now I've got it, and now I can get on with the task. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy it, because I know I will. Yes. Have any of you guys gone out and watched Beetlejuice yet? That's a random question, but I'm planning on going out with my family, with Squinks and my husband, to go and see it tomorrow. That will be fun. Don't know what else we're going to be getting up to tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Depends on the weather, of course. It always depends on the weather. Yes. I'm thinking about finding out about a like a craft fair or an art fair, embroidery fair. I don't know. I'm going to have to see on that one. It does depend on time and money and things. But I'd like to be getting more into the arty side of doing stuff, as well as the crafty side. It's nice to have something to make, but it's also nice to have more ephemeral projects, if you know what I mean, projects for a specific purpose. I don't know, I'm not entirely sure that's the right word, but we'll go with it for now. And yeah, my artwork is still up in Croydon. Looking forward to seeing what happens on the next leg of that show, though, because I believe it's going to be coming to the Wolverhampton Art Gallery, which is very close to me. I'm going to have to sort of reapply my work to see if I can get it into there as well, because it'd be interesting to put that up, because then I can go and see it with more friends, maybe, or go and see it more regularly on my own, see what the other people in this area are creating. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Yes. Yeah, my beetle embroidery is still up there. I'm interested to see if it comes back in one piece, because I gave them a box that was designed specifically to carry it in, and whether or not it survives their handling of it when they return it, we shall see. Yes, I think I need to give them more embroideries, more sashiko, more whatever to put up, because then they can make more of a feature of it, maybe. I don't know. Depends on whether or not I get picked, of course. But we shall see. Yeah, but it'd be nice to try out some things. One of the things I do look forward to when I go to the Creative Craft Show is that they've got lots of crafting groups or embroidery groups or competitions and things that people enjoy taking part in, and I think I would like to try and join a group like that, because at least then I get someone to talk to face about stuff like this. It is interesting though, because there's a lot of people who set up like crafting groups and things, and it almost always seems to be just knitting or just crochet, which is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all, but that's not my particular area of interest, at least not yet. I am hoping at some point to have a go at doing some amigurumi, or trying some more like miniature crochet and things, because I think that would be quite fun. But we shall see on that one. I always say that, don't I? We shall see, but we literally shall see. There's no other way to put it, really, is there? Yes. Yeah. So, how are you guys doing this week? I'm, as I say, I'm affected by yet another cold, but I blame the wonders of British weather for that, because the weather here is, as I say, ridiculously changeable at the moment. But that's just how it is, really, isn't it? I'd love to know, where in the world are you guys from? I know that I've got a couple of people in Australia watching. I've got some people in America that watch, and there's some people in Britain. But whereabouts in the world do you come from? And what kind of styles of craft and things do you get up to most whilst you're enjoying the local, or the more location specific crafts and styles and things? I think I might be rambling again. Yep, I am definitely rambling. I'm never sure how loud I can talk as well as I'm doing this, because if I shout too loud, then it's gonna overwhelm the microphone. If I'm not loud enough, then you can't hear me. So I don't really know quite what I'm supposed to do. But there we go. I'm just worried about the sound quality, because, as I say, I've got a lavalier mic, which is one of those ones that you plug in, and it transmits from this microphone here that I just tapped, so you should be able to hear it, to the one that's in the camera in my phone. And it might well cut out some of the extraneous noise from sewing and so on, but it does sometimes muffle what I'm saying as well, so I'm gonna have to see how that works. I'm sure you guys can tell me how it sounds to you. I think I last used it for my sashiko video, which was, that was well over a year ago now. And I remember that although the video itself was good, although the sashiko making itself was good, the sound quality was pretty awful. And I think I used this microphone on that occasion as well. So I don't think it's going to be any better than normal. But we shall see. Now, I've done this Mystery Stitchery in the style of a movie, and I'm very aware that the last 2 or 3 well, literally the last 3 Mystery Stitcheries have all been movies, and as I say, fairly geeky movies. So would you prefer me to do something else? Would you like me to do something that's, a book or music, or I don't know how I do music, maybe using the videos and things that people release, or maybe lyrics for a song or a poem? I don't know. But let me know what you guys think, because I don't want to alienate any of you, obviously. I'd like to know what you think. Would you like me to just continue doing them in movies or things that I geek out about? Or would you prefer me to do some more in other styles? I know movie going isn't everybody's particular love, but it is mine. And I do like my nerd out opportunities, so things like the Marvel movies, things like cartoons, things like animation, anime, all sorts of character driven things like that. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know down in the comments below. And I've pointed the camera because that's exactly what we want me to do. Yes. So what can you see in this image so far? Oops, excuse me. So what can you see in this image so far? It's not very clear at the moment, but I hope you can see there's sort of a shape of a man's head there. That's a clue for you that it is a man. That seems very, very generic, but it does make sense when you see how it's going to turn out, I think. And I'm going to finish this little spirally bit and then go on to the next bit. I think if I do my crazy quilting, I'm going to do that more on the table, but still have it as a Fabric Fumble Friday, so you can see my sort of thought processes as I construct my my piece. The other thing I was going to say was I have stopped for a while doing my reel of different stitches, because I had like that wooden reel that you remember I had before. It's about that big, and I had some scraps of fabric sort of wound around it, and I was intending to use that to try out various embroidery stitches, but then I started doing the chicken scratch and the black work on the reel, and then I started doing the black work in real life on the hoop and so on. So I think I would like to return to that at some point and do some sort of every Friday do a random stitch, random new embroidery style stitch, just to keep that going. Let me know if you'd like me to do that, because I'm very aware that I sort of said I was going to do that and I haven't. So that's not ideal, is it really? No. So there we go. It's a fiddly bit, that's why I've gone quiet, because I'm trying to focus. Yes. So, me and the clan here, we've kind of decided that next year we're going to have a holiday, because we haven't had a break in quite a long time. I think we would like to do something that's a bit... Oops, bless you, Luke. There he goes again. That's my husband working from home upstairs. I think we could like to either go back to Brighton for a longer stay this time, or we'd like to go somewhere a bit further afield. Now, Squinks has suggested we go back to Paris. Well, go to Paris, we've never been in Paris before, and go and have a look at some of the museums and galleries and things there. But I think that would be quite nice. Unfortunately, none of us speak French, so that would be fun. But I'm sure we'd be able to get by. Oops, daisy. Either that, or we could possibly go to somewhere else on the continent. I think that would be an exciting thing to do. And I would, take my camera along with me, take my phone along with me, so I can video things to share with you guys after being over there. There's lots of galleries and lots of places to visit that I would love to go and visit, but it all depends on time and money once again. So if anybody wants to sponsor me, that's where it's going to be going. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get away with that one, am I? Yes. So, I'm also trying to catch up on all the videos of things that I haven't seen for a while. Reacquainting myself with the theory channel. So you've got film theory, game theory, and food theory and style theory. They're fascinating. It's not necessarily what you would expect from those kinds of channels, but there are some very, thoughtfully made videos about different subjects. I mean, they were doing some about a certain company that's represented by a cartoon mouse that I won't name. You know who I'm talking about, but they did a sort of exploration of some of the news about them recently. And if you don't know what that news is, a quick Google will not hurt. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to catching up with some more of those. It's weird, isn't it? It's like, we're supposed to be having time off for a holiday in the summer, or time off for a break in the summer for kids at school, and yet things never seem to get any quieter, do they? They certainly don't. Okay, so that's what I'm going to leave on that bit so far. Let me know what your guesses are down in the comments below, and keep your eye out for the short that I'm going to be making of making this, because hopefully then it'll be a lot clearer and a lot more complete, and you'll see what it's all about. I make these kind of more what's the word, abstract than literal. There are some symbols in here that you can make sense of, but yeah, have a good look at that and tell me what you think the theme is. I'm going to put that on the side and get my chicken scratch out. Yay! Okay, so I've got this that I started last week. You guys saw me do the red and the white on here, and I love how this turned out. I even love the fact that it's so tidy on the back. That could be just a pattern in itself, couldn't it? So lovely like that. However, I've sort of tried to centralize it on this hoop, and I've tried to make the hoop nice and firm. And behind here, on, as I said before, I've wrapped the inner hoop with some of the spare gingham fabric so that it holds it even tighter. And what I'm doing with this one is I'm going to be going around the outside edge now and just filling in this space a bit more with some more stitches. I'm going to start with red this time, and I'm going to do the red in the white squares. So here I did the white in the red squares, and so I'm going to be filling up these white squares with red just to contrast it. This is my cotton perle number 8 from DMC. You can see there. DMC, I'm kind of falling in love with DMC, and I think I'm going to be purchasing one of their swatch kits. So they've got like a big, on their online store, they've got like a couple of books for the different sort of swatches for different types of thread. So they've got, cotton perle, they've got the regular DMC, they've got things like their natural selection, so naturally dyed, naturally processed. They've got metallics, they've got some silks, which I'm very tempted to buy because I want to have a go at doing some silk sewing. I've never sewn with silk before, I don't think. Oopsie daisy. That's quite a long thread. It's probably going to get very tangled, but we'll cope. I'm probably going to punch my camera so many times doing this. But we're used to that by now, aren't we, chaps? Yes, we are. There we go. And so I'm going to start from the outside edge here and work my way in, and I'm going to add some. I'm only going to do like 2 rows. Can I get 2 rows? Yep, I can get 2 rows out there. That's fine. So start here. Am I going to do it? I think I'm going to do. I'm going to do a star in these ones. So I'm going to start with the X's. We'll go from the X's to the crosses afterwards, and we shall see how it goes. Hopefully I'll be able to do this relatively quickly. It's a more speedy stitching on this because you've got so much more guidance on the from the gingham, I think, and it is very tall. You can hear there. I've almost got myself a tambourine. And I've got some ribbon over there lined up ready for this, but it depends on how big I'm going to make it. I might have to finish this one next week though. Depends on how much time I take up, because I'm already starting to run short on time. And as we know, YouTube does not like you posting videos that are longer than an hour unless you're got a very specific contract with them. I don't have that contract. I don't have that working relationship with YouTube yet. Maybe one day I will. But yes. We shall see. I'd love to know, what do you guys think of chicken scratch? Do you think it's too simple, or do you think it's, you know, an elegant way of doing these designs and patterns and things? I really do like it. I really do like it. But I definitely want to revisit some of the other areas that I haven't tried out yet. I'm trying more with the chicken scratch designs to use only white stitches and only red stitches, because I found that that contrast works really well. But I've just got to do more experimentation. I wish there was more books on chicken scratch. So sort of, here's a project you can try, here's some tips and tricks. But I've only seen YouTubers giving it a go. I hadn't even heard of it until I watched, Shannon Makes. And she tries out all sorts of crafty things. She's in the middle of rebuilding her home at the moment. And she's using all of her skills for that. But she did some chicken scratch on like a little project. And then I saw the Stitchery having a go at it as well. But that was after I'd had a few tries. But I definitely would like to find out more, because it's one of those crafts that is very distinctive, but also very notable by its absence from the conversation, if you know what I'm saying. It's a fascinating thing. But then again, I'm guessing from the feel of it that doing gingham embroidery or gingham lacing, or chicken scratch as it's known, is seen as a very domesticated craft, if you know what I'm saying here. When people say domestic craft, they normally mean women's work or one for the girls. So therefore it's not seen as being significant. And I'm seeing more and more reference to all these craft styles, craft patterns being lost, because the women who did them or do them basically being dismissed until the craft is gone. And then suddenly, oh no, we should have written it down because actually it was important. But it's only important once people realise that it's possible for the other gender to do it as well. I'm not going to get into much of a discussion of that, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, there was that thing about, what was it, stitching or weaving with clam spittle. Clam mucus was turned into thread, and there was like only 3 women in the world who knew how to do it. And they were constantly trying to say, oh, can somebody write these things down? Can somebody make a note of this? But nobody was, because it was seen as non-essential, because only women made it. And then suddenly, oh no, we need to make a note of it. Other people need to do it as well. And by that point, we've got to the position that certain skills, certain abilities with that craft are now lost because the people who could do it are not taken seriously, very sadly. But there you go. That's my bit of soapboxing for the day. I'm probably not going to be able to get a huge amount of this done today, but I really want to. I am going to continue this off screen, and I'll do a photograph at the end for you, just so that you have a bit more information about it. And I will also be making time to work on my Basil Omori piece again. Do you want me to do a standalone video working on it next week, one of the shorter videos, or do you want me to just keep doing it on the Fabric Fumble Friday, or possibly a combination of both, because I can cut the nonsense if I do a shorter video of it, plus showing how it turns out on the Fridays. Unfortunately, at the moment, I'm also having to deal with the fact that my eyes aren't doing so well. So I'm trying out some more reading glasses, but they sometimes give me a headache, because if I try to look up from whatever I'm doing whilst wearing the reading glasses, everything is so blurry and my eyes keep going, oh, Nick, I can't focus. And then my head starts hurting, which is not ideal, as we all know. But I am trying to do things to alleviate those issues. But I'm looking forward to getting a lot more done with that and with all the other projects I've got lined up. I think my next project will be the felting. As I say, I've had the stuff ready to do the felting with for ages, and I've had a project very much in mind for it, but I just haven't started it for various reasons, and I always seem to be getting waylaid. It's like, as I say, I started that reel of thread, that reel of practice stitches, and then I got waylaid by the chicken scratch that I was doing on there, because I was enjoying that too much, so I wanted to deep dive. And then I started on doing some random blackwork stitches on there, and then I decided I wanted to do a deep dive into that as well. Such is life. I've just got to get on with it. But it does mean that for the bigger projects like the Omori project, finding the time to do that then becomes much more tight, because I've got 14 or 15 other things going on as well. Oh well, that's the crafter's life, isn't it, chaps? As we all know. And it's always fun to do these things, but then as you're doing them, you suddenly go, oh, well, that's interesting, I want to try that as well. And then it becomes, oh, but there's 3 other things I want to try. And then, oh my gosh, I found these people who talk about that specific thing on YouTube. I will watch every single one of their videos, and now I want to do everything that they're doing. It's never just the one thing, is it? I think somebody might call it an ADHD sort of mind, but I haven't got ADHD as far as I'm aware. I just enjoy so many different things and want to do so many different things. And it's always fun to do that, I think. As I was saying on another video this week, the algorithms for YouTube, and there are algorithms for all the other sort of social media pages, they like it if you stick to one craft, because then you can hashtag that one craft over and over and over again, and then you can guarantee your repeated audience. But yeah, it's like, oh, I want to have a go at this, I want to have a go at that. And I know that I'm not the only one. Even if you do enjoy doing needlework, constantly doing needlework, and that's your thing, there's always going to be something that takes you out of it. There's always going to be something that gives you pause and makes you go, actually, I'd like to try that as well. So it's never just the one type of needlework, and it's never just the one type of stitchery, the one type of craft. And even with needlework, even with embroidery, there are so many different types of embroidery, so many different types of garment construction, so many different types of of fibre craft, so many different types of fabric craft and decoration and so on, that it's impossible to say, oh, well, there's my limit. I'm going to stick with this one for the next 6 years, because I mean the purists out there are like, oh, you have to keep this separate from that separate, and you can't mix these crafts and you can't mix these styles of embroidery and so on. But I think it's always fun to see where your designs, your ideas will take you, especially if you start doing sort of fusion designs and things, if that makes sense. I mean, it's always great to see how these things bleed into each other. I mean, I was saying a while ago that chicken scratch and gingham embroidery does sort of feed into sashiko style work, because you've got the grid layout here, which makes it so much easier. But then that also feeds into black work, that also feeds into maybe having a go at white work, maybe having a go at all sorts of other things. But we'll see what happens. I'm never going to stick to just the one thing, because I think I would get bored, but I also like bringing other ideas, other designs, other, creative possibilities into a design. But yes. I'm getting close to my hour now, and I think I've blathered on enough for you. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think I should talk about in the next video? Is there anything you'd like to know? I mean, you can do an Ask Me Anything, but I will have certain things I won't answer, obviously. But I hope you're enjoying this so far. And like I say, I am going to be continuing this off screen. In fact, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get to this corner here, and then I'm going to start doing the ribbon style stitching that I said I was going to put through here as well. But we shall see how that goes. Would you like me to see me try and do more of a traditional traditional chicken scratch style design? Would you like me to have a go at doing some of the patterns that look much more like lace on gingham? Because I think that's something I would like to try out, having a much larger hoop or much larger whatever. I've also heard say that you can do chicken scratch without a hoop, which I'm absolutely fine with, but I kind of like doing it in the hoop because I can control the pattern, I can see what I'm doing much more clearly. But maybe I should try it without the hoop at some point. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, I'm nearly at the corner. I've got this area up here to do, but I just do these 2 stitches first. Yes, so you see what my grand design is here. Oopsie daisy. What I'll do is I'll put that through there, and then put that through there, just so that I've got the end of the thread ready for the next part of it. And I will get my 2 ribbons here. Now again, these are from the fantastic selection that Christine from Create and Craft with Christine sent me. So let's see if I can get this through here without too much issue. Come on, you know you want to. Thank you. And I can probably hear you guys saying, but you've got 2 ribbons there. Yep, I have an idea, and I'll be doing that in a second. And I know that this red doesn't quite match that red, but I don't care. This is me trying stuff out. So let's start from this end. starting with the red. And hopefully, as I've got my microphone in, that shouldn't be quite as loud as normally it would be. But I'll find out when I'm doing the editing, won't I? Of course I will. Oops, daisy. Off screen then, sorry. And I'm going to just pull that nice and tight. And then I'm going to miss one. And I'm going to come out here. And yes, I'm going to come back and do these as stars after I've done as well. Most of the stitches are sort of laying up the framework for doing the lacing, the webbing, which I think is kind of fascinating because you have to have an idea in mind before you start. But at the same time, it could also wind up very different to how you expect, which I think, I like that randomness of it. That's just my personal taste though, isn't it? Yes. Miss one and come up here. There we go. And miss one. Come through here and in. I have my birthday coming up next year. Guess how old I'm going to be? I'm going to be 50 years old. I didn't leave you very long to guess then, did I? But I'm thinking of maybe doing like a crafty weekend or a week away somewhere. I don't know. Maybe treating myself to go and doing maybe a pottery course. That would be quite fun, wouldn't it? I did pottery when I was younger, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought I was okay at it, but it's been a long old while. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pottery classes or ceramic classes now that are air drying clay only, which is frustrating for me because I like air drying clay if you're into that kind of thing, but that's not the kind of thing that I want to have a go at. And in a country where we have so many like crafty TV shows, such as, you know, the Great British Bake Off and the Pottery Throwdown, which if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend looking it up. It seems a shame that we kind of losing our touch with the other sort of crafty ideals or crafty processes for something that's almost throwaway. I'm not saying anything negative towards, you know, people who work with air drying clay. You know, it's if that's what you enjoy, that's what you enjoy. But that's not for my personal taste. I hope I wasn't being too negative then. Right, I've got to finish this quickly, otherwise I'm going to run out of time. But I've got to also not make any mistakes. Let's see how quickly we can go. Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to having more time to craft on my own, I think. I'm thinking whether or not to stay at my job for much longer, because I'd much rather be doing this at home, but again, money! It's always about the money, isn't it, unfortunately? One day. Yes. Like I say, I'm still looking for a craft room that I can rent, because my house is lovely, but it's got 3 very big people in it, and when I mean big people, who take up a lot of room, as in we like to do a lot of stuff, lots of cooking, lots of crafting activities, lots of, you know, all these kinds of things that take up a lot of room, and then we wind up with no room to do the things we actually want to do, which is very frustrating. And then stitch through there. So yeah, hopefully you can see how that's going to turn out. I'm going to do this one in the alternate squares, and I'll share a picture sometime around here, and possibly at the end of the video as well. But anyway, that's where that one is at the moment, and that's where that one is at the moment. If you want to make a guess at it, feel free. I think I might have made this bit a bit too obvious, but we shall see. And I hope to see you in the next video. Hopefully that'll be something I'm going to be filming on Monday or Tuesday, and it should be felting. So I'm going to be having a go at doing a felting picture, a felting artwork. We shall see how that goes. So yeah, if you want to see how these things turn out in the next few weeks, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so you don't lose me on the internet. And comment down below, what do you think of these? What kind of things do you think I should try out in the next few videos? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks again, and bye-bye.